365-day Bible read. By 365th a day, we would have finished the entire Old Testament and New Testament of the Bible. I'm reading from the ESV version of the Bible, and you can follow along reading any version that you'd like. Um, it's the same, it's just different translations, but you'll still understand it just as I'm reading. So you'll be able to follow along and understand what I'm reading if you're following along from a different version of the Bible. And the reading plan that I am following is from esv.org. If you wanted to look ahead, my day one is from January 1st. So I'm starting at January 1st of the yearly Bible read from esv.org, not from April. I didn't start at April, I started from January 1st. So I'm on January 13th, according to that Bible reading plan that they have on esv.org. So today we're going to be reading Genesis chapters 31 and chapter 32, and then we're going to read we're going to do the Bible study after, and then we're going to go on to the New Testament and read Matthew chapter 10, and we're going to finish what we started yesterday. Yesterday we read chapter 10, verse 1 through 23, and today we're going to read chapter 10, verse 24 through 42, and then we're going to do the Bible study for Matthew chapter 10 after. Alrighty, so I'm going to get started here. Genesis 31. Jacob flees from Laban. Now Jacob heard that the sons of Laban were saying, Jacob has taken all that was our father's, and from what was our father's he has gained all this wealth. And Jacob saw that Laban did not regard him with favor as before. Then the Lord said to Jacob, Return to the land of your fathers and to your kindred, and I will be with you. So Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah into the field where his flock was, and said to them, I see that your father does not regard me with favor as he did before, but the God of my father has been with me. You know that I have served your father with all my strength, yet your father has cheated me and changed my wages 10 times. But God did not permit him to harm me. If he said, The spotted shall be your wages, then all the flock bore spotted. And if he said, The striped shall be your wages, then all the flock bore striped. Thus God has taken away the livestock of your father and given them to me. In the breeding season of the flock, I lifted up my eyes and saw in a dream that the goats that mated with the flock were striped, spotted, and mottled. Then the angel of God said to me in the dream, Jacob. And I said, Here I am. And he said, Lift up your eyes and see all the goats that mate with the flock are striped, spotted, and mottled. For I have seen all that Laban is doing to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed a pillar and made a vow to me. Now arise, go out from this land and return to the land of your kindred. Then Rachel and Leah answered and said to him, Is there any portion or inheritance left to us in our father's house? Are we not regarded by him as foreigners? For he has sold us, and he has indeed devoured our money. All the wealth that God has taken away from our father belongs to us and to our children. Now then, whatever God has said to you, do. So Jacob arose and set his sons and his wives on camels. He drove away all his livestock, all his property that he had gained. the livestock in his possession that he had acquired in Padanaram to go to the land of Canaan to his father Isaac. Laban had gone to shear his sheep, and Rachel stole her father's household gods. And Jacob tricked Laban and Aramine, but not telling him that he intended to flee. He fled with all that he had and arose and crossed the Euphrates, and set his face toward the hill country of Gilead. When it was told Laban on the third day that Jacob had fled, he took his kinsmen with him and pursued him for 7 days and followed close after him into the hill country of Gilead. But God came to Laban the Aramean in a dream by night and said to him, "Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad." And Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the hill country, and Laban with his kinsmen pitched tents in the hill country of Gilead. And Laban said to Jacob, "What have you done, that you have tricked me and driven away my daughters like captives of the sword? Why did you flee secretly and trick me, and did not tell me, so that I might have sent you away with mirth and songs, with tambourine and lyre? And why did you not permit me to kiss my sons and my daughters farewell? Now you have done foolishly. It is in my power to do you harm. But the God of your father spoke to me last night, saying, 'Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, either good or bad.' And now you have gone away because you longed greatly for your father's house. But why did you steal my gods?" And Jacob answered and said to Laban, "Because I was afraid, for I thought that you would take your daughters from me by force. Anyone with whom you find your gods shall not live. In the presence of our kinsmen, point out what I have that is yours, and take it." Now Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen them. So Laban went into Jacob's tent and into Leah's tent and into the tent of the 2 female servants, but he did not find them. And he went out of Leah's tent and entered Rachel's. Now Rachel had taken the household gods and put them in the camel's saddle and sat on them. Laban felt all about the tents, but did not find them. And she said to her father, "Let not my lord be angry that I cannot rise before you, for the way of women is upon me." So he searched, but did not find the household gods. Then Jacob became angry and berated Laban. Jacob said to Laban, "What is my offense? What is my sin, that you have hotly pursued me? For you have felt through all my goods. What have you found of all your household goods? Set it here before my kinsmen and your kinsmen, that they may decide between us two. These 20 years I have been with you. Your ewes and your female goats have not miscarried, and I have not eaten the rams of your flocks. What was torn by wild beasts I did not bring to you. I bore the loss of it myself. From my hand you required it, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. There I was. By day the heat consumed me, and the cold by night, and my sleep fled from my eyes. These 20 years I have been in your house, I served you. 14 years for your 2 daughters, and 6 years for your flock, and you have changed my wages 10 times. If the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had not been on my side, surely now you would have sent me away empty-handed. God saw my affliction and the labor of my hands and rebuked you last night. Then Laban answered and said to Jacob, the daughters are my daughters, the children are my children, the flocks are my flocks, and all that you see is mine. But what can I do this day for these my daughters, or for their children whom they have borne? Come now, let us make a covenant, you and I, and let it be a witness between you and I. So Jacob took a stone and set it up as a pillar. And Jacob said to his kinsmen, gather stones. And they took stones and made a heap, and they ate there by the heap. Laban called it Jegar Sahadutha, but Jacob called it Gilead. Laban said, this heap is a witness between you and me today. Therefore he named it Gilead. And Mizpah, for he said, the Lord watch the Lord watch between you and me when we are out of one another's sight. If you oppress my daughters, or if you take wives besides my daughters, although no one is with us, see, God is witness between you and me. Then Laban said to Jacob, see this heap and the pillar which I have set between you and me? This heap is a witness, and the pillar is a witness, that I will not pass over this heap to you, and you will not pass over this heap and this pillar to me, to do harm. The God of Abraham and the God of Nahor, the God of their father, judge between us. So Jacob swore by the fear of his father Isaac, and Jacob offered a sacrifice in the hill country and called his kinsmen to eat bread. They ate bread and spent the night in the hill country. Early in the morning, Laban arose and kissed his grandchildren and his daughters and blessed them. Then Laban departed and returned home. Genesis chapter 32. Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him. And when Jacob saw them, he said, this is God's camp. So he called the name of that place Mahanaim. And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother in the land of Seir, the country of Edom, instructing them, thus you shall say to my lord Esau, thus says your servant Jacob, I have sojourned with Laban and stayed until now. I have oxen, donkeys, flocks, male servants, and female servants. I have sent them to tell my lord, in order that I may find favor in your sight. And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, we came to your brother Esau, and he is coming to meet you, and there are 400 men with him. Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed. He divided the people who were with him and the flocks and herds and camels into 2 camps, thinking, if Esau comes to one camp and attacks it, then the camp that is left will escape. And Jacob said, O God of my father Abraham and God of my father Isaac, O Lord, who said to me, return to your country and to your kindred, that I may do you good. I am not worthy of the least of all the deeds of steadfast love and all the faithfulness that you have shown to your servant. For with only my staff I crossed this Jordan, and now I have become 2 camps. Please deliver me from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, that he may come and attack me, the mothers with the children. But you said, I will surely do you good and make your offspring as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. So he stayed there that night, and from what he had with him, he took a present for his brother Esau, 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 milking camels, and their calves, 40 cows and 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys and 10 male donkeys. These he handed over to his servants, every drove by itself, and said to his servants, "Pass on ahead of me and put a space between drove and drove." He instructed the first, "When Esau my brother meets you and asks you, 'To whom do you belong? Where are you going? And whose are these ahead of you?' Then you shall say, 'They belong to your servant Jacob. They are a present sent to my lord Esau. And moreover, he is behind us.'" He likewise instructed the second and the third and all who followed the droves. "You shall say the same thing to Esau when you find him. And you shall say, 'Moreover, your servant Jacob is behind us. For he thought, I may appease him with the present that goes ahead of me. And afterward I shall see his face. Perhaps he will accept me.' So the present passed on ahead of him, and he himself stayed that night in the camp." Jacob wrestles with God. The same night he arose and took his 2 wives, his 2 female servants, and his 11 children, and crossed the ford of the Jabbok. He took them and sent them across the stream, and everything else that he had. And Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the breaking of the day. When the man saw that he did not prevail against Jacob, he touched his hip socket, and Jacob's hip was put out of joint as he wrestled with him. Then he said, "Let me go, for the day has broken." But Jacob said, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." And he said to him, "What is your name?" And he said, "Jacob." Then he said, "Your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, for you have striven with God and with men, and have prevailed." Then Jacob asked him, "Please tell me your name." But he said, "Why is it that you ask my name? As there he blessed me. I'm sorry, and there he blessed me. I'm sorry, and there he blessed him." So Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, saying, "For I have seen God's face to face, and yet my life has been delivered." The sun rose upon him as he paced Peniel, limping because of his hip. Therefore, to this day, the people of Israel do not eat the sinew of the thigh that is on the hip socket, because he touched the socket of Jacob's hip on the sinew of the thigh. All right, so that was Genesis chapters 31 and 32, and we're now going to do the Bible study for Genesis chapters 31 and 32, and then go on and read Matthew chapter 10, verse 24 through 42. We already read the beginning of Matthew yesterday, so we're just finishing it and doing the Bible study for it after. Okay, so this is now the Bible study for Genesis chapters 31 and 32. Genesis chapter 31. Who told Jacob to leave Laban's household? God told Jacob it was time to return to the land of his father. What did Rachel take from Laban's house? His household items. His household idols. Where did she put it? In the camel's saddle. Why did Laban not look there? Because the manner of women was with her. The saddle would be unclean. How long had Jacob stayed with Laban? Jacob had worked 20 years for Laban. What would be the age of Jacob's oldest child at this time? His eldest would only be 12. His first was born with Leah after his first 7 years with Laban. If you subtract the first year of Leah's pregnancy from the remaining 13 years of Jacob's time with Laban, and that leaves 12 years since the first child was born. Genesis chapter 32 Bible study. Why did Jacob divide his possessions and people in two companies? If Esau attacked one company, the other company could escape. Why did Jacob send gifts to Esau? Jacob hoped to appease Esau and offer peace. With whom did Jacob think he had wrestled? God. What did Jacob want this man to do for him? Jacob wanted a blessing from the man with whom he wrestled. What happened to Jacob's hip? The muscle in his hip shrank. How had Jacob struggled with man and God and prevailed? Jacob had done the right things in all his adversities and had pleased God. What was Jacob's new name? Jacob would be called Israel, Prince with God. All right, so that was the Bible study for Genesis chapter 31 and 32. So we're going to go on to Matthew chapter 10 and finish the rest of that chapter, which is 24 through 42, and then we'll do the Bible study after. Matthew chapter 10, verse 24. A disciple is not above his teacher, nor a servant above his master. It is enough for the disciple to be like his teacher, and the servant like his master. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebul, how much more will they malign those of his household? Have no fear. So have no fear of them, for nothing is covered that will not be revealed, or hidden that will not be known. What I tell you in the dark, say in the light, and what you hear whispered, proclaim on the housetops. And do not fear those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul. Rather fear him who can destroy both soul and body in hell. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? And not one of them will fall to the ground apart from your Father. But even the hairs of your head are all numbered. Fear not. Therefore you are of more value than many sparrows. So everyone who acknowledges me before men, I also will acknowledge before my Father who is in heaven. But whoever denies me before men, I also will deny before my Father who is in heaven. Not peace, but a sword. Do not think that I have come to bring peace to the earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to set a man against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a person's enemies will be those of his own household. Whoever loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And whoever loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And whoever does not take his cross and follow me is not worthy of me. Whoever finds his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. Rewards. Whoever receives you receives me, and whoever receives me receives him who sent me. The one who receives a prophet because he is a prophet will receive a prophet's reward. And the one who receives a righteous person because he is a righteous person will receive a righteous person's reward. And whoever gives one of these little ones even a cup of cold water because he is a disciple, truly I say to you, he will by no means lose his reward. All right, so that was the remainder of Matthew chapter 10. We started it yesterday and read verse 1 through 23, and we finished it today by reading 24 through 42. And we're now going to do the Bible study for it. And remember, I am following along from esv.org, their Bible reading plan to get through the Bible in 1 year. Okay, so Matthew chapter 10 Bible study. How did the disciples have power to heal? Jesus gave the disciples power over unclean spirits and to heal all kinds of sickness and disease. Who did Jesus send his disciples to first? The disciples were sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel first to receive the message of the kingdom. If a household or city would not receive their words, what were the disciples to do? The disciples were to leave the city and shake off the dust from their feet that did not accept their message. Their fate would be in their own hands. Why would it be more tolerable for Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for the Israelites? Sodom and Gomorrah will be able to bear their punishment because no messenger of God came to them to redirect their hearts. The Jews has someone to tell them and will realize they turned down their opportunity for life. How will we speak in times of trials and persecutions? The Holy Spirit of God who is in us will speak through us. What will not be covered or hidden? The vindication of the disciples' truth, integrity, and innocence will be made known at some point in time, whether here or at the judgment. Whom should we fear when preaching the word? We should fear God, who can destroy the soul, rather than man, who can only destroy the body. God allows nothing to happen to us that he does not know or is in his will. The persecutors will face eternal consequences. How do we confess Jesus before men? We pray, are baptized, and attend church, whether by our conversation or by our actions. We show our allegiance to Jesus. How do we deny Jesus before men? We deny Jesus if our lives are we deny Jesus if our lives and our lips do not show we know and accept Jesus. What happens to us if we deny Jesus? If we do not accept and publicly live for Jesus, he will deny us before God. We will not enter into the kingdom of heaven. What is the sword that Jesus brought? The word of God is a sword. How does it cause division in families? The righteous will face adversity with the unrighteous, even within families. How do we take up our cross and follow Jesus? We live for Christ and God's will unto our death through oppression and persecution, even if it seems burdensome or disgraceful according to the world's view. Who do we receive if we accept a disciple of Christ? A disciple is a follower of Jesus and of God who sent his word through Jesus. All right, so that was Matthew chapter 10 Bible study. That was the entire Bible study for the entire chapter. We didn't do a Bible study yesterday for what we read of Matthew because I just wanted to do it all at once I finished the entire chapter. So yes, we are done with day 13. Wow, it's almost been 2 weeks. We are getting through. We're almost done with Genesis and Matthew. So this is like very, very exciting. Like we're getting through. We are getting through for the Lord. So I wanted to say something. I have a family member that's going through something, and I just wanted to say that God is always with us, no matter what we're going through in life. He's always with us. Isaiah 54:17, I know it says that no weapon formed against us shall prosper, and not saying that the weapon won't be formed. So, not saying that you won't go through this and you won't go through that in life. You won't go through ups and downs. You won't go through illnesses. That's not saying that at all, but it's saying that when you do, it won't prosper. And to me, I feel like that's saying like you go through things, but you know, if you don't allow the devil to steal, kill, or destroy you. So it's like if you're going through this or going through that in life, continue to know that God is with you no matter what it is that you're going through. Keep your faith. Know that God is with you. He won't put too much on you than you can bear. And if you're going through it, go through it with happiness no matter what. I know that's sometimes hard to say, like you could be going through this illness or that illness, and it's hard to have like a positive outlook on life or have a positive outlook on like anything when you're in your matter that you're going through. You just want to like sometimes just feel like you want to just give up, or God is not near you, or God isn't hearing your prayers. And He is always with you. He's always hearing your prayers, and He sees what you're going through. Just continue to have your faith and know that whatever you're going through, He's going to get you through it. It's not going to be too much for you to bear. And like He says in Isaiah 54:17, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. So you can go through that thing, you can go through that illness, you can go through whatever tragedy, and just go through it just knowing my Lord is with me. It's okay. My Lord is with me. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to get over this. I'm going to go through this with a smile. I'm going to go through this with a positive outlook and know that through this, there's some lesson. There's something that God has. I'm going through this for something. There's some lesson in this. There's something. I'm supposed to go through this so that I can get to my next destination. I'm supposed to go through this so that once this comes in my life, I'll know how to handle this. Or, I can say that I went through this and got through. I overcame it. This situation has made me stronger. Or, just know that God is with you no matter what you're going through. And sometimes it's not for us to understand. Like we'll go through things and we're trying to figure out, why am I going through this? Why is God allowing me to go through this? What? And it's like, don't beat yourself up like trying to figure out the why. It's not always for us to understand, but just know that God sees it. He hears your prayers, and He knows what you're going through, and it's okay. And you're going to get through it, and He's with you, and He loves you. So I just wanted to get that off my chest. I just felt like I just had to say that. And so, yes, I love you guys. Thank you for being here on this journey. I'm so proud of you on this journey. I'm proud of myself, and we're getting through. We just got through day 13. And yes, almost 2 weeks. So, we are readers for the Lord. So, yes. All right. So, I love you guys. God loves you. You're beautiful. You're worthy. You are enough. You're valuable. And God knows your name. And you're here in this world for a purpose. God made you and made this world. And He felt that the world needed a you. So, I love you. So does God. And I will see you tomorrow for day 14. Love you guys. Have a beautiful day.